The definition of counterfeit, adjective. Made an exact imitation of something valuable or important with the intention to deceive or defraud. Noun, a fraudulent imitation of something else, a forgery. Verb, imitate fraudulently. What's up guys, welcome back to a new video on East Coast Manga. Today we're going to be talking about counterfeit manga. That is not something I thought I would ever have to make a video on, and that's me being completely honest with you. I've talked about it before in my videos, I've talked about it, or mentioned it before in my videos, I've maybe mentioned it on stream before, but it's not really something that has shown itself to me. It has kind of stayed in the darkness. There hasn't really been a lot of that happening, I feel like. There's been some products, there's always people mentioning, oh yeah, I went to this, this comic book store or this bookstore and I saw this funny looking volume and, it wasn't made from like a known English publisher, but it had English in it. It's like, alright, well, and that's your crappy volume that's being printed overseas or something. But something happened a couple days ago. I was stumbling upon eBay and someone asked me what Slam Dunk was going for these days, and I'm like, I'm probably somewhere between $800 to $1,000 because it's super out of print, or slash out of stock. They're not printing it, but there should be reprints coming, whatever. So I go on eBay, the typical what usually you should do to see like, what sets are going for as in terms of like the highest. So I scrolled on eBay and I was looking through the sold section and I stumbled upon something really strange, and sometimes I look past it because there's a lot of different versions, especially a book like Slam Dunk. You have English versions, you have Japanese versions, Italian versions, probably French versions, Spanish versions. I mean, there's a ton of different versions, which all have different publishers, all have different spines, different looks, whatever. The title, I noticed it said English, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So I clicked on one of them, and what do you know, it is fake volumes from Malaysia. And even in the posting you can see it's clearly an English volume, as there's English text within the actual book itself they're showing off. And these are not sets that are being sold for, $20, $30, $40. No, these are being sold for $100, $200, $300. People spending hundreds of dollars on fake manga. And I'm curious because this is obviously, you could have a ton of different buyers, different types of buyers. You could have, people who, know it's fake, but they just want physical copies. You have people who maybe are just getting into manga and have no idea it's fake and they're buying it for themselves, thinking they're getting a great deal on Slam Dunk. Maybe you have parents who are buying their kids volumes of Slam Dunk or a set of Slam Dunk because their kid tells them that, and and most parents won't know better and they think they're doing an awesome thing for their kid. This definitely should not be a thing. This is getting a bit out of control. Hopefully this does not become a trend that we see moving forward. This is really bad, and I know there's always been a bit of a trend for self-prints, but this is not a self-print. So the way I describe a self-print versus straight up counterfeit, and this is why I told you guys earlier today, the definition of counterfeit, it is a imitation of something else that is already created. That's a problem because this already exists in the world. I know it's hard to get, I know it's out of stock, but this is why we need to push publishers to reprint things. Viz still has the license for this. Viz is still talking about doing reprints and all this, but Viz needs to step up and also see, okay, this is an issue. People are willing to spend hundreds of dollars on counterfeit manga. Why aren't we republishing? Why aren't we restocking the shelves? And to get into self-prints, like self-prints is definitely frowned upon as well. It's not technically legal, but at least in the realm of self-prints, from most of what I see, a lot of the self-prints are manga that is not published in English, so you physically cannot buy it in English. And I know a lot of the people who get self-prints, because getting self-prints is not easy, first of all, and making them is not easy either. I know a lot of people who have self-prints who would easily buy the manga once it's published, if it ever gets published. But the type of people to buy self-prints versus the type of people who are on eBay buying these sets, I think are totally, completely different people, and the company that is selling these are selling these items for profit, which probably costs nothing to make, especially in Malaysia. And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to me. I mean, have you guys seen something like this? Have you guys seen any other type of series that have been kind of mass produced in terms of fakes? Also, how do you feel about counterfeit manga? Do you think this is like a huge issue to the community? Do you think this is not that big? Do you think it's gonna fizzle out? I will say, like, I am coming from, you know, a couple years back from the streetwear and sneaker community where fakes are just left and right. I mean, it's just a part of the community now. It's incredibly difficult to tell the fakes from the real, and I just never really thought it would merge into a industry like this. It just seems kind of weird, and I will say, at least they're not trying to sell themselves as like Viz Media Prints or Kodansha Prints or Yen Press Prints, like it's some random company that's how you could easily tell. I don't know, it's just really weird to me. I also hope, I'm sure it's probably not going to happen, but I would also hope that eBay would maybe step in and try to stop this. Maybe you guys can report these posts as well. Maybe, you know, Viz or someone can do something, because this is like absolute just crazy. And it's, like I said, it's one thing if they're selling them for like, you know, nothing, because then it's not good, but at least people aren't getting scanned for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It does add up, obviously, but like, I mean, the amount of sold listings for these fake volumes, I mean, people are getting scammed left and right, whether they know it or they don't know it. It definitely should not be an option, and this is just, it's crazy. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is obviously a kind of a different topic, but I do like doing these discussions or whatever with you guys when I do have a topic to discuss. And yeah, leave your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.